Welcome to a series that we call The End of Times, where we go through the book of Revelation verse by verse to try our best to see what it is we can expect to happen in the end times, or the times Jesus referred to as the end of the age. And we've gone through the book of Revelation verse by verse, and where we are at is we are at the point where John had been taken up into the throne room of God, where we got to look around. He notices that God has a scroll in his hand with 7 seals. All 7 of those seals have been broken, and then there is 7 trumpets that will then blast from 7 angels. And once the seals are broken, what is written in that scroll is the divine coming of the kingdom of heaven on earth as it is in heaven. And as those trumpets blast, things take place. Now the wrath of God is being unleashed on the earth. And the first trumpet blasts, and hail and fire come down and destroy a third of the earth. Second trumpet blast, something like a burning mountain or meteor hits off the coast and destroys a third of the earth. The third trumpet blasts, and something like a star falling from heaven, burning like a lamp. Now this isn't a meteor, this is an angel that had fallen down or come down to the earth, and he poisons the hearts of men on that third of the earth. And then the fourth trumpet blasts, and the sky is darkened over a third of the earth. And then finally there's an angel who declares, well, it says angel in most Bibles, but the Greek word is for an eagle. And of course John is in heaven seeing this. Says, woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the rest of the earth. Meaning, so those first 4 blasts were ultimately destroying a third of the earth, or Babylon. And we'll get into what Babylon is in the future when we get to that section of Revelation. Now, these next 3 blasts are going to infect the entire planet. And that's kind of where we're at. And he says, whoa, 3 times, because the last 3 blasts are different, like whoa, by the end of those. So now we're at the 5th trumpet, the first woe. Revelation 9 verse 1. Then the 5th angel sounded, and I saw a star fallen from heaven to the earth, and to him was given the key to the bottomless pit. And he opened the bottomless pit, and smoke arose out of the pit like the smoke of a great furnace, and the sun and the air were darkened because of the smoke of the pit. Now, so going back to that 3rd trumpet where a star fell, so here we are, we have another star, and many times in the Bible, and we're going to see that again today, as angels are referred to stars. They could probably look like stars coming down, is my guess. Not really sure why they're referred to that, but they're often referred to as stars. Now, this 5th trumpet is very significant. I saw a star fallen from heaven to the earth, and to him was given the key to the bottomless pit. That's very significant. What is this bottomless pit? Well, first of all, remember that we are in a spiritual war. There's a spiritual war taking place, and a lot of what we're going to see in Revelation is the spiritual realm of what's taking place. And as humans, we're kind of victims of that to some degree. Now, Ephesians 6:12 tells us, for we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places. So what is this pit? Well, we're going to go back to Isaiah for a second. There's a point in Isaiah where he's talking about Satan in Isaiah 14, verses 12 through 15. How you are fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning. How you are cut down to the ground, you who weaken the nations. For you have said in your heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will also sit on the mount of the congregation on the furthest side of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Yet you shall be brought down to Sheol, to the lowest depths of the pit. Then we see this actually take place in Revelation. So what Isaiah is saying, yet you shall be brought down to Sheol, to the lowest depths of the pit. And if we jump to Revelation 20, verse 1. Then I saw an angel coming down from heaven, having the key to the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hands. And he laid hold of the dragon, the serpent of old, who is the devil and Satan, and bound him for 1,000 years. And he cast him into the bottomless pit and shut him up and set a seal on him, so that he should deceive the nations no more till the 1,000 years were finished. But after these things he must be released for a little while. And then 2 Peter 2:4 tells us that, for if God did not spare the angels who sinned, but cast them down to hell and delivered them into chains of darkness to be reserved for judgment, and did not spare the ancient world, but saved Noah, one of the 8 people, of a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood on the world of the ungodly. So in a weird way, it's almost like an angel prison, this bottomless pit. And when it is opened up, there's some bad things that are going to take place, because ultimately this pit is, again, it's like an angel jail or a prison to some degree. Sheol, or hell. Revelation 11:7 tells us, now when they finish their testimony, the beast that ascends out of the bottomless pit will make war against them, overcome them, and kill them. So, things are being released out of this bottomless pit onto the earth, and that is not a good thing. Now, what they're talking about there in Revelation 11 is that there will be this point where Christians who are professing Jesus Christ, something's going to come out of that bottomless pit. It's going to wage war against them, and that's ultimately going to be the beast. So right after the 4th trumpet, when 1/3 of the earth was darkened, this 5th trumpet begins with the whole world being darkened. So just kind of ultimately what's taking place is this 5th trumpet, an eagle saying, woe to the inhabitants of the earth, and then this 5th trumpet sounds, and then an angel comes down, opens up this bottomless pit, which seems to be an angel demon prison of some sort, and then smoke just comes ripping out of there like a furnace, and it completely darkens the entire earth. Now, as we continue through what's going on with this pit, and when they open it, this 5th trumpet blast, it gets really, really bad. Ultimately, God is allowing things that were bound on the earth in this bottomless pit to be released, and it gets really, really terrible for the inhabitants of the earth. And it just begins with this smoke just ripping out of it like a furnace. So we're going to continue with this 5th trumpet. We're going to see some hornets stinging people. It's going to get pretty terrible here for a bit. There's a lot of prophecy about the whole earth being darkened, and when we went to the 4th trumpet and 1/3 of the earth was darkened, that's just kind of the beginning of the darkness. That's ultimately a meteor hits and it just all the dust and debris flies up and it blocks out 1/3 of the earth. But here what we're going to see is smoke just ripping out of this bottomless pit like a furnace, and that's going to then cover the rest of the earth. And this bottomless pit is kind of like an angel prison, and apparently there's a lot of other things down there, because we're going to see a lot of different things come up out of this pit. And whoever this angel was, he was given a key to it, so he had authority to go down and open that pit up and let whatever's in there out. So I hope this video helps. We're going to stay on this 5th trumpet for quite a while, talking about what's coming out of this pit. It gets pretty nasty. Hope this video helps. If you like this video, click like and subscribe. If you feel called to support our channel through Patreon, that link is also below. But the most important part of this channel is we take prayer requests, so never hesitate to send that in. Thank you for watching this episode of God, Family, and Guns. And as always, love God, love your family, and love guns.